What's up, Dallas Cowboys fans? IndyCar Tim here with the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz for today. The NFL trade deadline is coming up. We're just a couple of weeks away. October 31st, 3 p.m. Central Time is your NFL trade deadline. And there's been talk about the Cowboys, if they're interested in bringing somebody in. If so, what position group would that involve? What would it involve in exchange for? There's just, as it is every year, the rumor mill runs crazy this time of year. And everything that we've seen and heard Jerry and Steven talk about is that they're happy with their team, right? That they're not interested in adding anybody. Now, I know they say that every year, and we all know what Jerry's track record is with all of that. But this year, it seems a little bit different. I really don't think they're interested. I think they actually do like their team. I know they're dealing with some injuries right now, of course, with Diggs being out for the season. You might suspect maybe they bring somebody in at corner. I think they're fine at corner. They've got some guys on the practice squad to fill in if they need for depth purposes. But I really do think that the Cowboys are fine with where they're at. And I don't think that they have any interest at all in bringing somebody in, especially, a big name, because think about it. They don't have a lot of cap space right now. And what are they going to have to do next season with the salary cap? They've got 3 big names that they're going, well, depends on who you talk to. They've got 3 big names that they're going to have to offer contracts to. Those 3 big names, if you don't know, are CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and guess whose contract is up? Dak Prescott, your quarterback. I don't know where the team stands with Dak Prescott right now, if they're interested in offering him another deal. Certainly you would think so, just because of the way Jerry talks. So because of those 3 big deals they're going to have to make next year, you're going to lose some people, most likely when that happens, of course, due to the salary cap. But I don't think they're too terribly interested in bringing somebody in, mainly, again, because they like where they are, and because of those deals they're going to have to start negotiating for next year. On the other side of it, could they be sending anybody out? Now, I did see something interesting. And of course, this is just a rumor, as they often are, because, nobody within any organizations talk to anybody about any of this stuff that would report on it. But I have seen a name associated as an outgoing player potentially with the Cowboys. And again, just a rumor, but if you look over in the NFC South, you've got a team that's not a horrible team, but they've got a horrible quarterback right now. That team is the Atlanta Falcons. They have seen enough of Desmond Ridder, I think. Taylor Heinicke is not going to be any more than just like a stopgap for them. And the name Trey Lance has come up. Now, of course, the Cowboys literally just got Trey Lance. They sent a 2024 4th-round pick to San Francisco for that. By the way, great deal for the Cowboys. Not so much the biggest Trey Lance believer, but for what you gave up to get a guy like him with his skill set and stuff, if he becomes anything, then that's a good deal. But Atlanta could be interested in Trey Lance, and he's young, super young. He's big. They like his skill set from what I hear, and that could be something in the works. Again, these are all rumors right now. We're not reporting anything necessarily. But I wonder 2 things here with that. Would the Cowboys would they give Lance up in a trade after just getting him? And if so, what would it take? Or do they have plans for Trey Lance? Maybe related to what I just mentioned a little bit earlier about Dak Prescott's contract being up. It just seems fishy to me. That whole trade with the 49ers came out of nowhere for anybody. And if the Cowboys, due to Dak's somewhat lackluster performance the last couple of years, and don't come at me, I'm a Dak fan, and I'm a realist too, though. I don't think he's the same Dak he was his first couple of seasons in the league, and I'm not talking about because of age. I'm talking about because of injuries. If they're a believer in Trey Lance, maybe they brought him in to give Dak a little bit of competition. Of course, it wasn't going to be this year. They got him too late. Maybe as a negotiating tool for Dak next year. You know what? We don't need you, Dak, because we've got this guy waiting in the wings, and we're okay if you leave. So we're not going to offer you $55, $60 million. Who knows what it's going to be by then. But, for 20, I'd sign Dak for 25 again per season. But if he's not up to that, decides he wants to walk, or the Cowboys just don't want to pay him, I think that they think that they could use Trey Lance, which is weird. We just saw what he went through in San Francisco, but that's neither here nor there. That has no bearing on what he does with Dallas. We know that's how quarterbacks work within systems and things like that. But let's say they don't want Trey Lance long-term, and they do want to use him to get some more draft picks. What would you want in exchange, man? And I don't know what Atlanta would want to give up for him. But if I'm Dallas, I want to at least get the 4th-round pick you got back, right? Like, I would get that. Or maybe go for a 3rd round. And if Atlanta wants him bad enough, maybe a couple of 3rd rounds. So there's room for wiggle. There's room to wiggle there for both sides of the possible trade. But, again, I'm not convinced Dallas doesn't have bigger plans for Trey Lance. And I'm not saying he's going to be their starter next year or any of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was the route they go. I don't know if I'd be a fan of that, but it would certainly be interesting if they're willing to walk away from Dak Prescott rather than re-sign him long-term, to have Trey Lance there. And again, the trade made no sense. You got your bona fide backup in Cooper Rush, and, he's been the guy. And it didn't make sense, and I always thought there was something fishy there and that there was something more to it than what we were being told. But it is what it is. We'll see. October 31st, 3 p.m. Central Time is your trade deadline. Again, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be buyers, and if they're going to be sellers, they're going to be bit players and players that they're not planning on using anyway, and get a couple of late-round draft picks for next year in exchange for it. So don't look for the Cowboys to be movers and shakers here come the trade deadline. But how do you feel? Like, answer me here in the comments section here on the video. How would you feel about Trey Lance moving into the starting position? What do you think the Cowboys wanted him for? Is he just going to be a backup maybe starting next year for Dak? Is that the long-term plan, or do you think they have plans for him to compete with Dak to be the starter and just to see how it goes and maybe light a little fire under Dak to see what happens? I don't know. What do you think? Find me on Twitter at IndyCarTim. We'd love to talk to you there, or find us over on at fanstreamsports.com and the FanStream Sports mobile app. We'd love to see you over there. And let's talk about it a little bit on the next show and see what y'all's thoughts are. Maybe I'll bring up some of the comments right here on the FanStream Sports YouTube channel and on the Fish Sports YouTube channel. Fish has some hot sports opinions on all of this too. Maybe we'll get him on with us next time. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll do it all again down the road, boys and girls. Until then, we'll see you.